This is the Rolling with Tay podcast. I'm your host, Tasia, aka Tay, and this is episode 8. And my guest today is Kristen. I've known Kristen for a while. Like, we've worked together on various projects, and I've been able to watch some of her transformation to become a healthier and fitter person via Instagram. Now, she's a personal trainer, a strength and conditioning coach, and helping people change their lives. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi. So happy to be here.
Oh man. Just before we started, we caught up a little bit. It's so great to have you on here and to we've worked together in production, and now
It's like it's been a long time. I was trying to think, it's been at least 13 years that I've known you or something wild like that.
Yes. It's been a while. So I've literally watched you.
Yeah, you really have.
Wow.
It's so crazy.
I know, right? But yeah, we can get right into it.
Okay, let's do it.
First question is, what sparked your transformation to become a healthier and fitter person?
Okay, so growing up, I always played sports. I played soccer and tennis, and I danced, and I loved playing sports. But kind of, as I guess most children do, when they get older, they stop playing the team sports. They go to college, they move on. And the older I got, the more social media kind of became more prevalent in our lives. I got sucked into the whole diet culture thing of just working out to look a certain way and to be a certain size and a certain weight. And I thought that's what being healthy and fitness is all about, just working out to, be a certain size and because you have to. And it wasn't really until one of my first trainers kind of showed me that working out and fitness and health doesn't have to be about that. It can be about so much more. And it can be about, working hard for a goal and trying to performance goals or be able to do your first push-up or pull-up. And the more I sort of leaned into that and realized, okay, that's health and fitness too. It doesn't have to just be about looking a certain way, but it can be training for something or just moving because it feels good for you. That sort of sparked and made me really understand health and fitness in a whole different way that I hadn't understood it before. And that's kind of what really started my journey into wanting to become healthier and fitter and that whole journey of it.
Yeah, nice. And you brought up something interesting, because a lot of people just look at the surface, like, oh, okay, this person has abs, or this person's a certain weight, so you're healthy. You're fit. And I'm like, actually,
it's so much more. Yeah, just because you look a certain way or don't look a certain way really doesn't mean anything about your health. There are people of all shapes and sizes that are healthy and or are not healthy, and it just kind of goes back to that whole diet culture. And the more we see on Instagram of Instagram models and people telling you to do something because, it's trendy or popular, doesn't necessarily mean it is healthy. And, I think that's one of the ways in which social media can be a problem, is just people, especially a lot of young girls, buying into the whole diet culture thing and, looking a certain way. And it's really when you can shift your perspective or shift what you're training for, that kind of really helps to change everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And it's a whole mindset thing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is.
So I see in a lot of your videos, you have a kettlebell.
Yeah.
What is the benefit of kettlebell training?
Kettlebells are really they're so versatile and they take up really no space. You can store them pretty much anywhere. And when you're working out with them, it doesn't really require a lot of space for you to work out. I only have about a 6x6 area in my apartment. I live in a pretty smallish studio, so I don't have much space off the bat, but kettlebells are so great because they don't require a lot of space, and you could do really every single kind of strength exercise with it. You could do squats, you could do deadlifts, you could do, overhead presses with it. You could also make a workout that's more cardio based to get your heart rate up more. Or you can train for a specific sport with them. So they're just so versatile. They take up no space, and they don't really require anyone to have that much space with them either. And you can get a really great workout with them in just, 15, 20 minutes.
So what you're saying is I need to get some kettlebells.
Yeah, you need some kettlebells.
All right, you sold me.
Because we clear that up. Yeah, you need some kettlebells.
So you also box, right?
I do. I started boxing probably about 4 years ago or so. And actually before COVID, I was trying to train for an amateur fight and try to get an amateur fight. But then COVID happened and my boxing gym closed and I kind of fell out of my training routine. But one day I will have an amateur fight.
Oh, nice. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
What do you enjoy most about boxing, and like what benefits do you get from it?
Well, just in terms of working out, boxing really is one of the best cardio endurance workouts you can do. I always say there's one thing to be in shape for a sport and there's one thing to be in boxing shape. It just requires so much endurance. But what I really do love about boxing is just kind of how it applies to life in general.
Mm-hmm.
It literally teaches you how to get punched in the face and how to not quit, how to come back and be like, okay, ouch, that hurt. But what am I going to do differently? How am I going to adapt? Life's not going to be easy on you. Life's going to knock you down sometimes, but you can't just sit there and you can't just crumble and fall. You just got to get back up and keep fighting. So boxing just applies to life so much in that way. Like, okay, you'll get punched in the head. It's going to hurt, but you can't go over to your corner and just sit there and cry about it. You have to figure out what you're going to do next. And that just translates to life, I think, in so many ways. So many times unexpected things are going to happen. You can't plan for what's going to happen next. You just have to kind of think on the fly and adjust and figure out what you can do better the next time.
That's a great comparison.
Yeah. I don't think I thought about that like when I started boxing, but the more I started boxing, that really just translated in so many ways. And it still rings true when you really think about it.
Mm-hmm. And it gives you another skill. Like,
yeah.
God forbid something happens to you, you got that right hook, you can you can defend yourself.
I'm ready to throw that anytime.
Exactly. Like what you say to me.
Yeah, you sure you want to say that? Be careful.
Oh man. So what have you discovered like about yourself internally after you started transforming your life? And as far as your training, like did you start to become more confident, happier? What changes did you see?
Yeah, so it kind of really for me all goes back to not having to train to look a certain way, but training for performance goals and training to maybe for a new skill. So when I really started to shift my mindset and change that outlook from going, okay, like I'm working out because I want to be able to do my first pull-up, or I want to be able to hit a certain number on a squat or a deadlift, that changed everything. And getting that confidence of knowing, okay, I couldn't do that 6 months ago, but now I've stayed consistent. I've worked hard. Like it's all me putting in that work, or it's all my clients are training. It's all them putting in the work. I'm guiding them, but they're the ones that are showing up and doing the work and seeing myself or them be able to do something they couldn't do before. It's so rewarding, and it just builds that confidence. Like, oh man, okay, I did that. Like I couldn't do that before, but now I did that. That's awesome. And it just gives you that gratification and that satisfaction of knowing your hard work did that. And that just builds up your confidence, I think, in so many ways. And it also kind of trains you to be a little bit of mentally tougher of, showing up when you don't want to, putting in the work when you don't want to, and kind of like fighting through it to be able to do it. And then when you look back at your performance progress, it's so rewarding to see that and to see that change over 6 months, a year. And if you keep putting in that consistent work, when you look back 5 years, you're like, oh man, that's crazy to see how far I've come in that time.
Yeah, I agree. I equate that with like my cycling journey,
Yeah.
and just how far I've come from my folding bike to my road bike to doing centuries,
Yeah.
So yeah, I totally agree. Like, you can't tell me anything. Like, what? I did 100 miles.
Right. And it's crazy to look back when you first started. It's probably like when you first started, you thought that goal and those miles were totally out of reach.
Exactly.
And then you do them and you're like, okay, I did that. Like, go me.
Yeah. You would have said, oh, you're going to do 100 miles. What? I can barely do 5 miles.
Right. And then to look back, you're like, all right, okay. So that, like, that was hard. I did it. Like, what's the next goal? What's the next challenge we can do and overcome?
Yeah. What advice do you have for people wanting to become healthier but don't know where to start?
I would say, first of all, find someone that's going to help keep you accountable, whether it be a trainer or a workout buddy. That's usually the hardest part in someone getting started, is when you don't have someone to keep you accountable. And I know trainers are obviously a luxury and an investment, but a good part of a trainer's job is just helping you show up and figure that part out. And if you can't, invest in a trainer, then just find a buddy who is going to, do it with you maybe a few times a week. And the hardest part, truthfully, also is just starting. Like, even for me as a trainer, 9 out of 10 times when my alarm goes off and it's time for me to work out, do I really want to? Probably not. Like, does staying in my bed sound nicer? Yeah. But just kind of doing it, and you're not going to want to, but it's kind of that discipline muscle that you just got to build over time. And you just, yeah, it sucks when that alarm goes off for me at 6 a.m. I'm like, I want to sleep today, but I just kind of got to get up and do it. And again, that accountability buddy happens when you can say, okay, like, we're going to work out at 6 a.m. This is the workout we're going to do. And I'll text you when I start. You text me when you start, and we'll finish. And then text me when you're done. That definitely helps a lot, knowing that someone is there doing it with you.
Yeah, that it does.
Yeah. It's like, you could share the misery a little bit of having to wake up early or of not wanting to, because, it happens for everyone. You sit there, you contemplate it for an hour, and you're like, I really don't want to do it. I really don't want to do it. Truth be told, that was me all day yesterday. I sat there for a good portion of 3 hours in the morning, just being like, ugh, I got to do this. I got to do it. I got to do it. I got to do it. And then, got my buddy. We said, okay, let's just do it. Let's get it done with and have it be. We'll feel great afterwards.
Yes.
Because you always feel so much better when you're done. Your mind's clearer. Your body feels good. You just feel so much better.
Yeah. Yes. Once it's over, you're like,
yeah,
I can do anything now.
Right. You're like, why did I contemplate that for so long? I should have just did it like an hour ago.
Right. And got it over with. Yes.
Yeah. And also, I think the important thing to realize too is you don't have to work out for 2 hours. You see people on Instagram, on social media posting like, I worked out for 3 hours today, did this and that and that and that. You don't have to do that. Just moving your body a little bit each day is good. Whether that be for 10 minutes, go for a walk, maybe you walk up and down the stairs a few times for 15 minutes, put on some tunes, a podcast. You don't have to work out for 3 hours each day. Even just moving your body a little bit, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever time you have in the day, just get up and move.
Yeah. Yes. I think sometimes it gets like, with social media and just with all the information online, you got to do this for a certain amount of time. It's like,
yeah,
then that's exhausting right there. After I read all that and watched all these videos, I'm like, I'm not doing this.
Exactly. You're like, nope. And then you see the whole thing. You're like, wait, you mean I have to work out for that long each day till I feel good? Like, I don't want to do that. Like, no one really wants to be working out for 2 hours each day. Like, it's not necessary. But when you see people posting about it, and then someone that might be newer, you're like, really? I've got to work out for that long to like feel good? Like, that sounds exhausting, and it is. Like, it is.
So you mentioned, what made you want to be a personal trainer and a strength conditioning coach?
So it kind of goes back to when I had one of my first personal trainers. They shifted that mindset for me that, like, you don't have to work out to look away a certain way or hit a goal weight. You can work out to try to do your first, pull up or deadlift, and try using kettlebells. And once I saw that trainer did that for me and kind of shifted that in my mind, I wanted to help do that for other people. And I understand it could be extremely intimidating, especially for women walking into the weight area of a gym. And we've been so conditioned for so long to like hop on the treadmill or hop on the elliptical and let's go on the elliptical for 20 minutes, 40 minutes. But it could be so intimidating walking into the weight section of a gym. I wanted to kind of demystify that and make it less intimidating for all my clients, but especially those young women that don't know where to start or are scared of going into that area of a gym, and for them to realize, okay, it's not that scary. You can do it. I can do it. And them being able to set a goal for themselves of, I want to do my first push-up in 6 months, and see them hit that goal, and then them gain that confidence and slowly but surely just check off new things off their list of things they couldn't do once, but now they can do.
And it's probably rewarding.
Yeah, it's so rewarding, and to see them grow and just be proud of themselves for something they did, because they're guiding you, I'm encouraging you, but again, like, they're putting in the work, they're showing up, they're doing everything, and to see them be so proud of themselves, it's rewarding. And I think somehow in this culture we've gotten away from being proud of ourselves. I think sometimes it's seen as being cocky to be proud of yourself, or like they're proud of themselves. Like, why are they proud of themselves? But I think you should be proud of yourself when you hit a goal or when you do something you didn't think you can do. So it's nice to encourage that, and nice to let people know it's okay to be proud of yourself. Like, you should be proud of yourself.
Yeah, celebrate your wins, people.
Yeah, it's important. You gotta.
It is.
It's like the little things that keep you going. It's important.
Exactly. That encouragement that you give to yourself. Like, listen, I'm proud of myself.
So, yeah, because you give it to other people all the time.
Exactly.
You see your friend do something, you're like, oh man, that's awesome, congrats, or this and that. But so rarely, or maybe we've just gotten away from it, do we really congratulate ourselves and sit there and acknowledge our wins.
Yeah, very important.
Yeah.
What are some of your personal fitness goals for 2022?
So there's a few. I like to think of things that I can't physically do right now, like hitting a certain number on a deadlift and a certain number on a squat. And there's two very specific numbers I want to hit in 2022 that seem so out of reach for me, maybe like 3 years ago, 5 years ago, and that are up there. 2021, my goal was to do an unassisted pull-up, and I finally hit that, and that was, a very special moment, a very proud moment for me.
Nice.
So I'd like to be able to, thank you. Yeah, I'd like to be able to string together a few of those, a few more, and hit a certain number on the deadlift and the squat. And those are two of my goals, or three of my goals right now. And then as I kind of check those off, I'll reassess again. I think it's, at least for me and the way I like to encourage people, so set smaller goals along the way and then build from there. Because sometimes when you set such a large goal, it can be so daunting and seem so out of reach. But when you set some smaller goals and then kind of reassess and build along the way, it can seem a lot more achievable.
Yes, I agree. Yes, I agree. Break your goals up into smaller pieces, people.
Yeah, do that.
Oh, man. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you for having me. This was so great to catch up, and I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Where can people find out more about you?
You can find more about me on Instagram. That's probably the best place. My handle is Chris714.
Yeah, and I'll put it in the show notes as well.
Okay. Amazing.
Yeah, and then you get to see her with the kettlebell.
Yeah. All the kettlebells, all the boxing, and then, some fun lifestyle stuff in between, because when it comes down to it, life is still meant to be enjoyed.
Exactly.
And that's why we're here, to enjoy too.
Exactly. Well, thank you again so much for being on the Rolling with Tay podcast. I'm your host, Tasia, a.k.a. Tay. And see you on the next one. Kristen, got any last final words before we bounce?
Just move your body a little bit each day. We're blessed to have a body, so just move it a little bit because you can.
Yeah, you heard it. Peace out, everyone.
Bye.
One more Rolling with Tay podcast? Well, follow on Instagram and Twitter at Rolling with Tay. Visit the blog rollingwithtay.wordpress.com for more content, and be sure to sign up for the monthly newsletter. And lastly, subscribe to the YouTube channel Rolling with Tay.